Hey there. Right. Sorry, this having a few technical difficulties, so our video's been lagging and it's disconnected me a few times, but hopefully things are working now. Hey there. Right. Sorry, this having a few technical difficulties. Right. Is the audio clear? Can I just make sure that you guys can hear me? Hey, Henry. See, I've just updated the software and it's clearly being a bit problematic. So fantastic, right. So I'm going to click on my presentation now, and if you can just confirm whether or not it's showing up on your screen. So is this showing up for you guys? Right, I'll go on that PowerPoint again, just so you guys can see it. Is that showing up? Right, great, fantastic. We'll give a few more minutes, see if anyone else joins. Usually people join later on as the session progresses, but is it Yaha? Am I pronouncing that correctly? Yeah. Apologies if I've butchered that name, but I'm Mohi. This is Henry. Nice to meet you. We'll be starting in a few minutes. Right. We'll make a start now, guys. Obviously, when people join in, Tom will help you guys because I won't be focusing on the chat. So, any questions or queries, just Henry, sorry. Tom was helping me last week. So, anyway, Henry will answer any questions if you get stuck or need any help. Right. So, today we're going to be looking at movies and language and the role movies play um, when um, processing language or learning language or even teaching language, and that will make a lot more sense as we go through this presentation. So we have three sectors today. So for example, we have our aims. So we want to show how movies can improve our language skills, in this case, our English skills. We're going to see how movies can do that. We're also going to have a discussion. So we're going to see um, how movies can help us and what are they actually for. And finally, we will also have some exercises. So we'll watch a movie clip and answer questions about it. Now, unfortunately, I haven't included a movie clip in here because of copyright laws, and I don't want YouTube to remove this video because I've included a movie clip. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to act out a movie clip. It'll make more sense as we go along, but don't worry about it. Okay, so to begin, let's just talk about the science behind it. So, how movies can help you learn English. So, first of all, learning from films being another word for movies, it's motivating and enjoyable, okay? So, that's one of the reasons we watch movies, at least I would hope, because it's enjoyable, right? We enjoy it. So, here in red, you'll see the word motivation, okay? So motivation is ranked as the second most important factors. It's one of the most important factors in determining successful second language acquisition. So to explain that, to simplify that, basically, if you are motivated to do something, you are more likely to do better at it. So if you watch a movie that you enjoy, you're motivated to watch it, chances are it's gonna help you more, okay? So film, again, I'm using the word film, but it's same thing for movies. It provides a natural and varied language, okay? It provides a source of natural and varied language. So when we watch films, we see how people would talk in real life. And sometimes when we're learning English, we read too many textbooks, or we do things that are too scientific, let's say, and we don't use the practical elements. But when you're watching a film, um, it's very practical, right? We see real life conversations, which is kind of what I want to help you guys with. So, again, it says it provides students with examples of English used in real life situations, so outside of the classroom, when you go to a doctor's surgery or if you go to the school to drop your kids off, that kind of jazz. It's a visual, so you watch it and you can listen at the same time. So it's different ways of learning, okay? This website here is very useful. If you want to read anything more about this, go on this website and it'll say how watching movies can help you improve your English skills, okay? Right, so this scene here is from the film Dark Knight. The Dark Knight, it's the second Batman film in the Dark Knight trilogy. Now, it's a very popular scene in the movie. Um, the Batman, this guy here, is interrogating, so questioning very harshly the Joker, this guy. So this is the Joker, this is the Batman. Now, as I said earlier, I'm doing this because of copyright laws, otherwise I would have included a video here. So I'm going to just play out this scene. So just imagine that I'm Batman and I'm Joker. So here goes. So I'm Batman right now. You wanted me. Here I am. I wanted to see what you'd do. And you didn't disappoint. You let 5 people die. Then you let Den take your place, even to a guy like me. That's cold. Where's Den? Those mob fools want you gone so they can get back to the things we were. But I know the truth. There's no going back. You've changed things forever. Then why don't you want to kill me? I don't want to kill you. What would I do without you? Go back to ripping off mob dealers? No, 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 no. You complete me. Okay, I butchered a few of the words there, but essentially that's kind of how it went down in the movie. This short little clip here. And so it puts things into a bit of context, okay? So the Batman interrogates the Joker. This word here, interrogates, it's a fancy way of saying when you are questioning someone, but you are doing it very, very severely. You want to get specific information out of them. You interrogate them. You see this all the time in prisons. Um, Even in if you went to a court, the prosecutor would interrogate the witness. So interrogate. Okay, next slide, guys. Um, so exercise one. So the previous slide was from the movie The Dark Knight, and if you want to watch the full clip, if you just type in Batman interrogates the Joker on YouTube after we've completed this presentation, you can watch the full 4 or 5 minute clip. Highly recommended. So back to this slide. Our first question is, why do people watch movies? So I'd like you guys to think about that for a while, and whatever pops in your mind, just write it down in the chat box. Henry, you can join in too. You can place your answers down too. I know some people can't make it for the live stream today, so they're gonna watch it after. That's completely fine. We'll still go through this, and you guys can watch it at your own pace later on. So the question is, why do people watch movies? Why do you think that is the case? Okay, so one of the reason people watch movies is something I alluded to earlier. I mentioned that some people just enjoy it, right? So movies are enjoyable. So that's one of the reasons people watch movies, because they're enjoyable. So Henry gave us the answer here. Let's see what he says. He makes me think differently about the world or escape into a new narrative or fantasy. Also as a social element to go out with friends and enjoy time together. Right, very, very good points there. So if you're having a stressful day, you have a lot of work, you have a busy family, busy job, you have to do the cleaning, things that make us feel very worried, stressed. If you just watch a movie, it lets you escape temporarily, okay? So for a short period, you escape into another world. That's one very good reason people watch movies. And Henry mentioned that we watch it with our friends as well. So that's another good reason. So do you have a favorite movie? That's our second question. Now, I don't have a single favorite movie. There are a lot of movies I like, but not a single favorite movie. So, for example, one movie I really like would be Kill Bill. I like the Kill Bill movies, two of them. So, Kill Bill's a movie I really enjoy, and the plot is quite basic, but it has a lot of action. It's entertaining, stylistic, has a good soundtrack. Okay, so here's next question is, do you watch movies in languages other than English? So, for example, when I was younger, my aunt in particular was really into Bollywood movies, so in the Hindi language. So, derived from India, I would watch a lot of those movies. I myself am from, well, my parents were born in Bangladesh, so I'm Bengali. I've watched a few Bengali movies, I've watched Hindi movies, I've watched Japanese movies. So I watch all kinds of movies, but mainly English movies, as you would expect. Okay, so what is another word for movie? I kind of answered this already, but the answer was, say, film instead of movie. So, what is the purpose of movies? Now, this ties into the question of why do people watch movies? They are quite linked. So, Henry, if you wouldn't mind just answering that question again. So, what is the purpose of movies? If you had to, what I'm saying is kind of repeat your previous answer, but maybe put a bit of a different spin on it. Apologies if there's any lag, guys. So, when I ask a question, my chat doesn't immediately update. So, movies are mainly a form of entertainment. They show characters and human stories which might be similar or totally different to our own. So, um, Henry's claim is that the purpose, the aim of movies is to entertain us, right? Okay, so we've gone through that exercise. Now, this exercise is a bit more interactive, but we don't have many people at the moment. So again, if you've missed this, no problem. You can rewatch the video later on. So what do these words mean? So we're going to start off with the word script. So I want you to think about what the word script means. We have various other words too, so actor, film, soundtrack, producer, editor, cast, cinema, sequel. So any of those words, if you just put in the chat box what any of those words you means. You can guess, it's completely fine. The answers are on the next slide, but um, I do encourage you to pause and guess. So what do we mean when we say actor? Just been reading another comment from the chat is so they're a form of media, um, movies, just like books, but express things differently. That's something Henry said earlier. So um, obviously we get a lot of information from books, but when you see it in a film, it's the same information sometimes, but just on screen. Okay, so anyway, let's go through our definitions one by one on the next slide. By the way, you see this word here, script. We can associate this picture here with script. So it's usually a handwritten story of sorts. When people say, "Oh, what's the script of the story?" They're kind of talking about the storyline, and it's historically been a handwritten document that is changing over time. But okay, so let's go through this now. So we have the script, as I've just explained in the previous slide. So something written by hand, often a storyline. Soundtrack. This is a bit more difficult. You've probably heard of the word sound before. We know that when we hear something, um, we say there's some sound over there. But so soundtrack is a sound recording on a narrow strip of a motion picture film. One way of thinking about that is just it's so if you hear music or in a movie, and there are many many, let's say, songs and many pieces of music within that film. That would be the soundtrack of the film, but not just one piece. So all of the songs are the soundtrack within that film. Actor, a performer in theatre, television, or film. So when someone is acting, doing the verb, the noun would be actor, right? Film, as we've been through in the previous slides, a series of moving pictures that tells a story. Obviously, moving pictures, we could just say, um, a lot of people would just say, well, it's a video, right? This is just the dictionary definition, which is useful, obviously, but it's better to relate it to things that are easier to understand sometimes. Next word, we have producer. So, producer is someone who finances and supervises the making of a show or a film or whatever. So essentially, think about it as the guy who provides the money for everyone to do what they're doing, and he keeps an eye on the actors, on the backroom staff, on the makeup artists. He's seeing what's going on, or a she. Of course, we are getting more female producers now, thankfully. Okay, next thing we have a director. It's very easy to get confused between producer and director, but in the context of movies, the difference is director is the person who directs, so the verb direct, director being the noun, the making of a film. Okay, score. Again, there are score is it means something else in film. Now, obviously, if you're watching a football match, someone could ask you, what's the score? And if Barcelona had one goal and Real Madrid had one, you'd say the score is 1-1. But in the context of a film, score is a written form of musical composition. So basically, it's just music written down, okay? Cameraman, probably the easiest one to understand. A photographer who operates a movie camera. So if it was a woman operating it, it would be a camera woman. Editor, um, the person who determines the final content of a text. So let us say I was writing a newspaper, um, or someone else wrote it. If I was to edit it, I would look at it. I would see if there were any grammatical errors, if there were any misspelt words, and I would change that, and I would decide what the final piece is going to be, what what it's going to look like. So that's the job an editor does. Cast. Again, this is another word that has several different meanings depending on the context. But in this context, it's kind of when someone it says here the verb form is assign the roles of a movie or a play to actors. So if we use it as a verb, that's what it means. Sure. Do we have? Oh, hey Ali. Right. Since Ali's joined us, I will go back over the previous slides soon, but first I will go to the final slide. Um, but so I've assigned some homework for you guys for this week. So what I would like you guys to do is write a short dialogue with 2 characters. Don't worry if you're confused. I will go back to the previous slides. I would like you guys to make an account on this website here, Grammarly.com. It's very useful. You can copy and paste your work on Grammarly. It will help you with any grammatical errors rather. Ha, ironic. Any grammatical errors. It is more accurate than Microsoft Word in this regard because when you use something like Microsoft Word, it will fix your spelling errors, but it won't fix the grammar or the context. So once you have completed this, I'd like you guys to email your dialogue to N.E.S.T@outlook.com. You can write it down on a piece of paper, take a picture. You can do it on Microsoft Word, whatever's easiest for you guys. Okay, so now that Ali has joined us, I will go back to the previous slides. But before I do, does anyone have any questions about what we've discussed so far? Right, you have a question, Ali? Go ahead. What is the difference about where are you from? Is okay, so right, so I think you're asking what is the difference about where are you from and where are you come from? Where are you from and where are you come from? Right, okay. Well, where are you come from? Well, there's not much of a difference really if I'm understanding the question correctly. So if someone were to ask me, um, where are you from? I mean, usually they're asking about your country of origin, or they may look at they might see what you look like, your physical makeup, and they might think, right, he's probably from this country. So if they say, where are you from? Let's just say I was from India. I'm not, but if I was, let's say I was from India and someone's saying, where are you from? I could say, I'm from India, if that's where I was born and if that's where I lived. Now, if they were to ask me, where are you? It says here, where are you come from? I assume you mean, where do you come from? Now, same thing, essentially. I mean, the previous construction, where are you from, is more common. You would hear that more often than where do you come from, but they're asking the same thing. So there's no difference if I understood the question correctly. Okay, Ali, I'm going to go back to the previous slides now, just because I know you missed the session, but you can watch this later and recap it, but I'll quickly go over the previous slides. Right, okay. So just to go through this again, so today we are looking at movies and language. Our aims are to show how movies can improve our language skills, in this case, our English skills. The discussion is, so what are movies for and how can they help us? Exercises, we will watch a movie clip and answer questions about it. Um, I know you weren't here earlier, Ali, but what happened was I did not include a video because copyright laws would entail that YouTube may remove the video. So instead, I acted it out. I had the dialogue, I had a movie script, and I talked about it. So, for example, I went through the science behind movies and how they can help you learn English. So, for example, learning from films is motivating and enjoyable. So, a lot of us watch movies because we enjoy them. And motivation is a ranked, so this word here in red is ranked as the second most one of the second most important factors in determining successful second language acquisition. So, what that basically means is if you're motivated, you have a higher chance of improving your English, okay? So motivation helps. So if you watch something you enjoy, it could help. Movie provides natural and varied language. So um, in movie, the way movies are different to, let's say, traditional learning is they use real life conversations. So they might talk in a doctor's surgery or in a school or in a shop, things that would happen in real life. So we see how the conversation works in real life, and we can apply that knowledge to the way we speak. So it's a great, fantastic way to improve our English skills, okay? Answer regarding your question, yeah, both is true. Yes, that's correct. So both are fine. Um, okay, so the clip we looked at was Batman interrogates the Joker. You can find this on YouTube. So after we've finished, you can type this in and watch the scene. Very powerful, um, and it's a good conversation, and it can improve your understanding of the language, okay? So I'm not gonna act it out this time, I'm just gonna read it, but last time I did act it out. So Batman says, "You wanted me, here I am." Joker responds saying, "I wanted to see what you'd do, and you didn't disappoint. You let 5 people die. Then you let Dent take your place. Even to a guy like me, that's cold." So when he's saying cold here, he does not mean cold as in the temperature. He's not talking about snow or cold water or a fridge, not that kind of cold. He means cold as in someone who is, let's say, someone who is not nice, someone who is bad or not nice. You could say that person is cold. So that's what he means when he says that's cold. He's not talking about the temperature. So Batman responds saying, "Where's Dent?" Joker responds saying, "Those mob fools want you gone so they can get back to the way things were. But I know the truth. There's no going back. You've changed things forever." So, forever in capital letters because he's shouting. "Then why do you want to kill me?" responds Batman. Joker responds, "I don't want to kill you. Wanna, just a slang way of saying want to. What would I do without you? Go back to ripping off mob dealers? No, 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 no. You complete me." So Joker finds Batman very interesting, and he is um, not very intimidated. So he is this word here we talked about earlier, interrogates. So when you're questioning someone, when you ask someone a question, and if you keep asking them a question very, very severely, you can say you are interrogating them. You want to gather some information from them, okay? Okay, right. I do believe we've covered all of the material for now, guys, but just to refresh your memories, so in exercise one, we had all these questions. I'd like you guys to answer these in your own spare time. Have a deep think about them. Write a detailed answer if you can. If you can't, that's fine. Just do your best. Then we asked, what do these words mean? So I'd like you to guess what they mean. Write down an answer. Um, so the first one, script, is linked to this picture here. So that's a clue, big clue. And then for the next slide, we had the definition of all those words in context. And finally, I assigned everyone some homework. So the homework is write a short dialogue with 2 characters. What do I mean by that? I mean this here. So you see, there's Batman, there's Joker. They're having a dialogue. They're having a short conversation of shorts. So I want you guys to make up a character. You can use Batman, you can use Joker, you can use any name you want within reason. Make up your own story, make up your own conversation. So, for instance, um, I could change this and I could just say, let's say Joker is a nice guy. Let's say he's Hello there. Nice to meet you. I like human. No, not that. I like red, juicy. Wait, no, that's not right. I like red apples. Okay? So, and then Batman could respond. I. Actually, he should say hello, shouldn't he? If he was a nice guy. Let's assume Batman is a nice guy too. Hi. I prefer green apples. You get the point. So I want you guys to do this and send it to this email here. So next week when I'm here, I am hoping to read some interesting dialogue. Right, before I finish off, guys, does anyone have any questions? Okay, it seems we're all good. So thank you guys for coming, and hopefully see you guys next week.